Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big stuff. And today, we're diving into this really fascinating paradox right at the heart of global football.
Okay, so there is this massive wave of cash just flooding into global football right now. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about Madrid, Manchester, or Miami, that money is pretty much coming from the same two places: super savvy US private equity firms and, these powerful sovereign wealth funds. They are all betting big on the beautiful game.
But here's the crazy part, the paradox we're talking about. Even though all this money is coming from the same kinds of places, the biggest leagues in the world, Spain, England, and the USA, are running in completely opposite directions. It's like they're building three totally different futures. So let's break down how that's even possible. All right, first up, let's head to Spain. This is a league that's kind of locked in this epic battle between its history, its tradition, and the crazy demands of modern money.
So, to really get what's happening in Spain, you've got to understand this massive split in how clubs are owned. On one side, you have the socio model. Think Real Madrid, think Barcelona. They're literally owned by their fans, their members. They can't just sell off shares to raise money. But on the other side, you've got the sad model, which is basically a regular company. They can sell shares to investors. And this tension, it's at the heart of every single financial move in that league.
And that tension is really hitting a boiling point right now. The socio clubs, the absolute giants of Spanish football, they are feeling the squeeze, big time. They're trying to compete with state-owned teams and the Premier League, which is just swimming in cash. Real Madrid's president, Florentino Perez, he knows he needs more capital, but his hands are kind of tied because of that member-owned structure. So he's had to get real creative.
And this is his solution. It's brilliant and, yeah, a little controversial. He can't sell the club itself, right? So instead, he's proposing to spin off all the commercial stuff, the stadium rates, the merch, all of it, into a totally separate company. And then he'll sell a small slice, maybe 5 or 10%, of that new company to private equity. It's this incredible legal move to get cash in the door while, technically, the club still belongs to the members. Pretty clever.
Meanwhile, right across town, their rival, Atlético Madrid, has gone in the complete opposite direction. As a sad club, they were totally free to sell. And boy did they. The U.S. private equity firm Apollo Sports Capital just snapped up a controlling 55% stake. See, this isn't some clever workaround. This is just a full-on embrace of that modern institutional ownership model. Okay, path number 2 takes us to England. For years, the Premier League was basically the Wild West of football finance. But, well, it looks like a new sheriff is in town. So what was the breaking point? Well, it was the absolute mess of that failed takeover of Everton by this shaky American investment firm, 777 Partners. The whole deal just fell apart amid some really serious fraud allegations, and it totally exposed how vulnerable these historic clubs were under the old system where the league just regulated itself. That was it. That was the final straw for a lot of people.
So what happened? The British government stepped in and passed the Football Governance Act of 2025. And this created something English football has never seen before, the Independent Football Regulator, or the IFR. The most important word there? Independent. This is not the Premier League policing itself anymore. This is a government body with real actual power.
And this IFR has some serious teeth. It's not just about balancing the books. Now clubs need a license to operate, proving they're financially stable. But the IFR can also vet owners and kick them out if they don't pass. It can protect a club's heritage, the badge, the colors. And this is a big one. It now makes it flat out illegal for any English club to try and join a breakaway Super League.
All right, for our third and final path, let's jump over to America. Major League Soccer is doing the exact opposite of England. While the UK is pumping the brakes and adding rules, MLS is flooring the accelerator.
For the longest time, MLS was all about parity, about making sure every team had a fair shot. They had these really complex rules and even their own special currency called GAM to keep everything balanced. Well, that's all over. Starting in 2025, they've basically unleashed the market. Now, wealthy owners can use as much of their own cash as they want to buy players from other teams in the league. It means financial power now directly equals power on the field. Now, on the surface, you'd think the Premier League is just in a different galaxy, right? Look at the raw revenue, 7.7 billion euros compared to about 2.2 billion for MLS. It's a massive gap. But when you look at how investors actually value these leagues, the story gets way more interesting. And this is the paradox. Even though they make way less money, MLS clubs are actually valued at a much, much higher multiple of their revenue. So why? It's because an MLS team is a safer bet for an investor. It's a closed league. There is no threat of relegation, that nightmare scenario where your billion-dollar investment suddenly gets wiped out. That's security. That's scarcity. It means investors are willing to pay a huge premium to get in on the action.
So what does all this mean? Let's pull it all together. You've got 3 leagues, all swimming in the same kind of money, but they are taking radically different paths. Spain is trying to create this hybrid of tradition and finance. England is clamping down with strict new rules, and America is just unleashing the free market. You end up with 3 completely different ecosystems for the world's biggest sport.
And when you put them side by side, the differences are just stark. Look at this. In England, directors can literally be disqualified by the new regulator. In Spain, they can be held personally on the hook for a club's debt. But in the US, the league structure shields the individual owners. Or how about this? Joining a breakaway league is now illegal in England. It's still being actively pursued by some in Spain. And it's just not even a thing in America's closed system. This all points to one really crucial shift. The old romantic idea of the local millionaire who just loves the team, that's over. It's dead. We are now, without a doubt, fully in the era of the institutional operator. We're talking global private equity firms, sovereign funds. They see clubs as assets in a worldwide portfolio. And so, that leaves us with one last big question. As the same institutional money keeps pouring in, but it's creating these wildly different realities for clubs and for fans, you just have to ask, in this new era of global finance, who is this beautiful game really for?